How do you fix bugs in your Terraform modules? Let's have a look at the process I use to diagnose and fix issues. Today, we're going to be looking at a completely unscripted scenario where I just thought I'd record myself fixing an error that was reported on one of the modules that I maintain for Azure Verified Modules. I hope that it'll give you some insight into the process that I use to try and first reproduce the error and then test and fix the problem. I go as far as creating a pull request and using some of the Azure Verified Module tooling to make sure that my PR is correct and all the formatting and documentation is up to date. I really hope you find it useful. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let's start by looking at the module call which caused the error. So this is it. You can see that we are defining some keys. We also have private endpoints. We have some role assignments, and we have the delay configured as well as the network ACLs here. So bear that in mind. This error doesn't occur when you don't put the keys in the key vault. So it only happens when we start specifying keys. Let's have a look at the cycle error that's been reported. So here we are. The module key vault var keys then depends on module key vault time sleep wait for RBAC operations. So before the keys, so there's a delay in there, which then depends on the key vault itself, which then goes to the output. So this is part of that same AVM lab. So I think the first thing we can do is to try and reproduce the error. Now, the way I typically do this is to try and minimize the configuration so that we've only got what we absolutely need to repro the error. So let's try that. What I'm going to do is bring up VS Code. So this is the module itself. So when I get a problem like this, first thing to do is let's create a branch. I'm going to call it fix cycle error. Now, I've created a new branch. Now I can create a folder in here called create key. That's going to be my example that I'm going to use. Main.tf as always. Now, this is the module declaration from the example that we just saw, the Terraform lab that we just saw. So let's change this. Oops. Let's change the source to be that. The name doesn't really matter, so we'll call that just random stuff. We're going to need a resource group. This, and we are going to need obviously a name. RG. I just call it that just to be consistent. I'm going to put it in UK South. So that's fine. So that's resolved all of that. We need the tenant ID as well. So let's add a data source to get the tenant ID. There you go. Good old Copilot knows exactly what I mean. Okay. So this is going to deploy my module. Now I'm going to tidy this up a little bit because we don't think we need all of this stuff. So I don't think we need the private endpoint. I don't think that's part of the error because it wasn't mentioned in that cycle. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to, so I'm going to add us in as a key vault administrator. I think that will, yes, because that will allow us to create the keys, I think. Let's delete that because we don't want, the example had using a managed identity from a VM, which we don't need. We'll leave the delay in. Network ACLs are fine, apart from I'm just going to be a little bit naughty and do my IP address here. Or should I just do everything? Yeah, just for the purposes of this. That should let us in. Now, I'm going to turn on Do Not Disturb so we don't get notified of those. Thank you. So this probably is going to initialize now. Find out. var.location. So what's it complaining about? Resource group name, tenant ID, that kind of stuff. Okay, let's get rid of that. Oh, I know why. Silly me, I was in the wrong directory. The examples, create key. If I init that, there we go. Plan that. There we go. We can see the cycle error immediately. Fantastic. This is good. So why is this happening? I'm just going to double check that's the same. Key Vault. So that's actually a slightly different order to the one that we saw, isn't it? So the Key Vault key is dependent on the output resource. That makes sense because you can't create the key until the Key Vault is created. So that kind of makes sense. And then that output resource is dependent on keys, which I think is where the var.keys, which is where the problem is. And then you've got this time sleep. Okay, so let's have a look at our code and see if we can fix this. What we've got is the Key Vault resource itself. Actually, first of all, let's check the outputs because I was a bit confused about why. Okay, so yeah, I think this is the problem. The resource output, which outputs the whole resource, is dependent on the keys and the secrets. I wonder if we just remove that we get rid of this issue. Let's try that again. Okay, I think that is actually correct now because we've got a different error and it's just me not creating the right file. So if we go to our example, create key, new file, terraform.tf, and I need some required providers in there to be good. Required version, let's go for 1.6. Required providers, Azure VM. And yeah, I don't think Copilot's got that quite right. It's pretty good. 3.72, that'll do. So that's any version more than 3.72, but less than version 4. What else do you need? What else have we declared in our main.tf in this example? Azure RM, module key vault. That's it. That's it for now. So that's fine. So in here as well, I'm also going to put the provider Azure RM features. None. Okay. Let's go back. It's taking longer, so I'm assuming that means it's happy. It's taking a really long time. Maybe it's not very happy. Maybe my internet is having problems. Let's take that over here. I'm just going to go a little internet test on another bit of my screen. Yeah, that seems to be working okay. I'm going to can that. This is really interesting. I've been receiving this error sporadically over the last month or so, and it's a real problem actually because essentially it's failed to check whether a resource provider is registered. Really interesting. Original error, population resource provider cache listing resource providers. Okay, so it's just done it's just doing a get on that. It's doing a get on that API. So this is completely off script now. So let's just dive into that. How do we debug that? Well, we either skip provider registration and just get this example to work, or we do an AZ REST command which is really cool. Method get URI. Let's chuck that in there. So that is exactly what Terraform was doing. I'm using the same login. Okay, so that's worked. Okay, so I'm going to put this down to a transient error and try another plan. There you go. Okay. So just so you can see what this is doing in more detail on this zoomed in screen, I'm going to go, I'm going to create a tfplan.json file because I've got a little tool that makes it quite easy to display what's going on. So I've outputted that tool, and if I go tfplan.doc, you can see that's actually not the latest version, but you can see in a bit more of a summary view what is going on. So you can see that it's going to create a resource group, it's going to create a key vault, it's going to create a key with that on that map, it's going to create the telemetry information. It's going to say deployment user secrets. Oh, okay. So yeah, probably need to change the name of that role assignment, I think. The random ID for the telemetry and the 2-time sleeps. Okay, that's cool. It's interesting why it's going to create both of those before secret and keys. But anyway, maybe it's another bug to look at. A little bit more minor than the one we've got here, I would say, with that cycle error, which is pretty horrific. So yeah, let's just go deployment user admin. Let's change that map key to something a little bit nicer. Okay. Cool. Has that done it? Let me just run an apply on there, and then we can see that working. I'm just going to auto approve that because I've just done it. And let's wait and see. So what I've just done, just so I can be completely open here, is just installed the latest version of my tfplan.doc tool. So if I turn into the terraform, okay, so it's not, there's no -p now. I've changed it tfplan.json, and yeah, it spits out nice green colors now instead of the word change or not. So it's a slightly different update to that little utility. The reason I wrote it is because you can include it in your pull request pipeline. So this will generate essentially a comment that you can put in your pull request, so you can summarize what resources are created in any plan. Also, you can do a -a, I think, as well. If you've already got resources in the state, it will confirm there's no changes to them. By default, it only outputs, only outputs resources have changed. The other thing you can do is you can go cat tf. It supports standard in, so tfplan.json pipe to tfplan.doc and just put the dash on it, and then that will just take it from standard in. So there you go. That's a little distraction. So we're still creating this key vault here. I'm pretty confident this is going to work. Wow. 20 seconds, 30 seconds to create a role assignment. Okay, here we go. So it's now doing this time sleep. Interestingly, even though we haven't created any keys, any secrets, it's still trying to do the secret one. So might just leave that to run in the background and find out why that is, because that shouldn't be doing that. So it'll probably be main.secrets. So we've got okay, so I'm surprised it's doing that. Just checking it is doing that. Yeah, wait for RBAC before secret operations. The count is 1 on that, so I'm confused. Because var role assignments is not, because that is true, the var assignments, there are some role assignments, but var secrets is not equal to that. So I wonder if we've got a nullable issue on there. Let me have a look at keys and secrets. Keys. Okay, so the default is that. Okay. What I'm going to do actually is, because there's no semantic difference between having an empty map and a null value, I'm going to simplify this logic and set nullable equal to false. Again, on the secrets one, which I'm assuming is going to be in here. There you go, secrets. The default is still empty objects, so that's interesting. I don't know why. So I didn't, just got to double check in my example, I didn't make a boo-boo and actually specify some secrets. I definitely specified keys and role assignments and that weight. Oh, the secret operations. Interesting. So why is that? Why does this? So var secrets does equal empty map. So I'm confused. That expression should be false. So I don't think it should do that, but maybe one to look at later. Let's find out what's going on. Okay, it's done it. Okay, so this is fantastic. So if I just find my Azure portal, I'll be able to find my subscription and then find that I can create that thing would have been created. So yeah, here it is. So bring it over here for you. So here's the key vault I've just created. And if I look at keys, I've got CMK for storage account in there. So that now works. I'm going to make this change because this is currently causing a bug inside the module. I'm going to spend a little bit of time now just tidying up this example because this example uses fixed names for things. So let's just close everything else. So most of our example is fine for testing. That's brilliant. I just created a resource group and created a key vault with a name, but actually all the examples in Azure Verified Modules randomize things like locations to enable examples to not just stress one region and also to randomize naming and things like that. So what I'll probably do is just take the stuff from here. So we want the regions module. We want the, change these. And change these version constraints. Actually, the example should really use pinned versions, I think. Let's just check what version that is. It's 0.4.0. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's the thing that gets us the random region because we just pick a random number. We've also got the naming module here as well. So if we get that from our default example and put it into our create key example, right? Random integer, da 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 da. So what we'd need to do here is just copy the resource group name, which randomizes the name. Sorry, location. Oops. Is this the location? Yes. So that's the location randomized because it's coming from the regions module. If we do look at the name unique out of here, and then we can change the same for the key vault itself. So that's what we need. And now we've got a good example. What I might do is just put that source in there as well. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so that's that example nice and tidy now. What I will do is I've just started Docker in the background because I'm going to run some of the AVM checks that we need to run before we make pull requests and things like that. So we know this example, well, we don't actually. We know this example deploys. If we're being really good, we need to add the random provider into there because we're using the random integer. So we've got that in here. So let's do this. Let's tidy up this as well while we're at it. There's a much nicer way of writing this now. Thanks to Jared, he taught me this. You can just do that instead. I think it's called the pessimistic version constraint or something. So you just delete, it's whatever. It just means the last digit can be incremented, but the other one can't. So in this, so that could be it has to be 3 dot something basically. Also, let's just maybe make this 1.6. Okay. Okay, so let's do that. That's my terraform block from my default example. I'm going to put that into create key now. Copy that in there. So we got regions, random, main module. Okay, so let's just go terraform init. Okay, marvelous. I'm going to go terraform destroy actually, because the name's going to change. What I'll do is I'll rerun that example. Actually, what I will do is not that while that's destroying, I'll run some of the AVM stuff. So I've got this AVM script, which I can go, I can get AVM pre-commit, and it will run all of this stuff. So it'll run all the checks that I need to do. Have I updated my documentation? Things like that. I'm not sure I have actually. I think it's going to fail because I haven't got the documentation files that I need for my new example. So I'm hoping this gives me an error. Marvelous. So it's now going to run the pre-commit checks. I'm pretty sure it's going to error. Okay, it's going to install the default version of the right version of Terraform, which is the latest. It's running the autofix stuff, which is going to reformat. Okay, here we go. So yeah, it's trying to generate the documentation in examples, create key, and there is no header file. So that's exactly what we expected. What I normally do is just copy the header and the footer at this point, and I then go to just put them in there. That didn't copy the footer for some reason. Okay, so header, create key. This shell example shows how to deploy the module and create a key using Azure RBAC. That's good enough, I think. Interestingly, in the default examples, I think we have a variable that's one of these for label telemetry. So I'm going to pass that in as well. So because in our testing environment, we turn off telemetry. Variables.tf. So main key vault. Okay, so what we're going to do is add the enable telemetry is var.enable telemetry. For example, that means our testing frameworks can turn it off. We just set the environment variable tf underscore var underscore enable telemetry, and we set that to false. So yeah, let's have a look again at this. Marvelous. Okay, so now we're pretty sure we are up to date. We also need to do this, actually, one more thing. It's a bit of a chore. We need to update the module version, which I think I forgot to do when I released the last one. It's easily done. So I think this is going to be a hot fix. I think I released it on 0.5.2 before. Let me just check on here. So AVM pattern key vault. No, that's the resources. That's it. Okay. I'm just going to do this one. PTN res key vault. Should be in there somewhere. There you go. So the latest release is 0.5.2. Yeah. So this is actually now going to be 0.5.3 because I forgot to update that last time. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is commit this code. So fix cycle error from the 0.5.2 will also be an example to prove this is working. Now I'm going to publish this branch. And now we're going to do a pull request. So luckily, here's the repo already. You can see the last pull request was that one. That was the 0.5.2 release. So I'm going to go to pull requests here, and you can see that cycle error had pushes. So let's have a look. This is, I use the conventional commit standard. So it's either feat : or fix : and then what we're doing. So fixes cycle error introduced in v 0.5.2. Remove output dependencies on child resources. Okay, great pull request. So what that's going to do is do a load of stuff, right? So what I'm not going to live demo the example testing because that'll take a little while. But what I'm going to do is just make sure that everything's happy with this linting, these linting checks and things like that. And if they're not, I'm going to show you what I do to fix it. So you can see that we've got our test examples here. We've got create key, default, diagnostic settings, and private endpoint. You don't have to create an example. I didn't have to commit that example to the repo. I was just using it for testing. I could have just deleted it and then fixed the issue. It's kind of up to you. If you think the example is valuable to the people who are going to be using the module, then keep it in. But yeah, so there's linting on the docs. So it's checking documentation's been up to date. It is checking the TF lint stuff. So let's have a look and see how far that's getting. Okay, so it's now doing an init. Is doing just the main one? Yeah, I think it's just doing the main repo, the root module. Oh no, it's doing the examples as well. So it's going through all the examples, linting those as well. I think that's worked, by the look of it. It has. Marvelous. Yeah, that's now worked. Okay, so let's go back to the pull request. Okay, so what I'd do now is I'm going to show you, but I'm going to skip to the end and not actually demonstrate this. So it says this branch is waiting to be deployed. You can show the environments. You should be able to. Yeah, so here's the job. You can click on that, and then you can see here review deployments, deploy to my test environment. Click OK, and that will then actually do the deployment, check it's working for real, and also do the destroy as well. And that is a kind of tour of how I tackled this problem. I'm also going to do another video of adding a feature, which will come next. But yeah, hope you found it useful. As always, give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you think this is useful. I hope you, whether you're an AVM module author or whether you're just a general kind of terraform engineer, will find this kind of process useful. But yeah, leave us some feedback, get in touch if you have any questions, as always, and I will see you next time.